Have you ever sat alone in a quiet room and wondered, why don't they call as often as they used to? Maybe it's your son, your daughter, even the grandkids. They used to light up when they saw you. Now it's just silence. You leave a message. Maybe two. Sometimes they reply. Sometimes they don't. And little by little you start questioning yourself. Did I do something wrong? Am I no longer important in their life? Do I need to try harder? Maybe just one more text? One more invitation? But let me tell you something. From one human heart to another, chasing someone else's attention, especially your own child's, will only leave you tired and feeling smaller than you are. You've lived too long, learned too much, and given far more than most people will ever know. You don't need to prove anything. Not to them, not to anyone. Your worth isn't measured by how many calls you get or how often someone visits. Let's flip the script right here, right now. Instead of shrinking yourself to fit inside someone else's priorities, it's time to fill your own life with meaning, energy, and quiet confidence again. Not to get their attention, but because you matter. And you know what happens when you do that? When you stop reaching and start rising? That's when they start noticing. That's when people, yes, even your kids, begin to sense something powerful in you again. They feel it, they see it, and they start to return, not because you asked, but because you're standing strong in your own light. Let's walk through how to do that together. And it starts with something simple, something right within your reach. Start with your body. Not because you want to impress anyone, but because your body is your foundation. If you're waking up each morning stiff, tired, low energy, that fog creeps into everything. It clouds your spirit. It makes you feel older than you are. But when you move your body, whether it's a walk around the block, a gentle stretch, or a bit of gardening, something changes. Your breath gets deeper. Your steps feel stronger. Your thoughts feel clearer. It doesn't take a miracle, just a start. You don't need to run a marathon. You just need to take care of the one body you've been given. Hydrate it. Feed it whole food. Give it sleep. Give it care. You deserve that. There's a saying that goes, "No one is truly free if they can't master themselves." That includes your body. When you treat your body with respect, it sends a message to the world, and more importantly, to yourself. I matter. I'm still here. I still have things to do. And here's something else that's just as vital. Who are you spending time with? Because the truth is, if you surround yourself with people who constantly complain, who gossip, who drain your energy, well, it rubs off on you. It's like sitting next to someone smoking a cigarette. You're going to smell like it even if you never lit one yourself. But when you spend time, even a little time, with people who lift you up, it's like fresh air in your lungs. Maybe it's a neighbor who shares your passion for volunteering. Maybe it's a group at your church. Maybe it's a walking group or even a community class where you can learn something new. If you don't have those people yet, don't worry. There are more of us than you think. The minute you start taking care of yourself and moving forward, the right people start appearing. They say you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose wisely. Let go of the voices that make you feel small. Choose connection that energizes, not empties you. And here's where things really start to shift. Start building your social strength. Not by being loud or flashy, but by learning how to connect again. You know, when we stop working, when the kids move out, when our roles change, something happens. We shrink back. We let the world get quiet, sometimes too quiet. But you were made to connect. Real strength isn't about how many people you know. It's about how deeply you listen, how present you are, how sincerely you show up in conversation. There's power in saying someone's name with warmth. in asking about their day and truly listening, in sharing a story, not to be impressive but to build a bridge. Even if you felt socially rusty for a while, it's never too late to come alive in this way again. The more you practice small, meaningful moments of connection, the more you start feeling your own power return. You'll walk into rooms differently. You'll sit at that community table with a little more presence. You'll smile a little more easily. People sense this. And yes, your kids will too. They may not say it, but they'll feel that shift. You're no longer chasing their call. You're building a life, a real one. And that brings us to a secret that too many people forget after a certain age. Confidence. Not the kind that puffs its chest out, not the kind that brags. I'm talking about the quiet kind. The kind that walks into the room like it belongs there. Not because it demands attention, but because it no longer needs permission. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Piece by piece, choice by choice. It begins with how you speak to yourself in the morning. Are you saying things like, "I'm too old for this"? Or are you saying, "Let me see what I can still do today"? Confidence grows when you keep the small promises you make to yourself. I'll take a walk today. I'll cook a healthy lunch. I'll call that friend I've been meaning to reach out to. And the beautiful thing, you don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to keep showing up. There's a quote that says, "It's not the one who has little, but the one who keeps craving more, who ends up poor." Craving someone's attention, especially your child's, can leave you empty. But standing in your own value, taking care of your body, surrounding yourself with energy-giving people, and showing up with quiet confidence, that fills you. That changes everything. And don't worry if this feels like a lot. You're not behind. You're not late. You're right on time. Right here in this moment is your opportunity to begin again, not to get anyone back, but to come back to yourself. If something in this message stirred something in you, don't brush it off. Let it in. Let it be the spark. Because no matter how old you are worthy of love, respect, and meaningful connection. Not because you fought for it, but because you remembered where it truly starts. You're already on the path now. You've taken the first steps, caring for your body, choosing the right people, reconnecting with others, and finding your own quiet confidence. And maybe, just maybe, you've started to feel something shift inside. That gentle, steady reminder that you're not fading, you're becoming. And the beautiful part is, once you begin, life begins to meet you halfway. That brings us to something many people stop believing in after a certain age: purpose. It's easy to lose track of it, especially when the big chapters seem to be behind you. Maybe you've retired. Maybe your home is quieter than it used to be. Maybe the kids are busy building their own lives, and you're not quite sure where you fit anymore. But let me tell you something that may surprise you. This stage of life isn't the end of your purpose. It may be the most important part of it. You still have dreams, even if they look different now. You still have stories, wisdom, experiences that nobody else can offer the way you can. And the world, your family included, needs that. Purpose doesn't mean you need to start a business or climb a mountain. It could be something as powerful as mentoring someone younger, starting that creative project you put off for decades, learning something new that excites you, volunteering your time where it matters. Even tending your garden with love and intention can be an act of purpose. When you live each day with direction, you radiate something special. People sense it. Your kids notice it. You're no longer just waiting around for them to show up. You're living with meaning. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop making them the center of your identity, they start gravitating back. They start wondering what's lighting you up, what you've been up to. Not because you tried to convince them, but because your life is full again, and that kind of fullness is magnetic. But purpose alone isn't enough. To keep moving with purpose, you have to learn to navigate the waves of emotion that come with this season of life. There are days when the silence feels heavy, when old memories sneak up on you, when loneliness sits beside you like an old companion. And there are days when anger or resentment bubble up. Why haven't they visited? Why do I always have to reach out first? Don't they see how hard I've tried? These feelings are real, and you don't have to pretend they're not there. But the key is learning how to master them instead of being mastered by them. Because the truth is, your emotions are messengers, but they're not always telling the truth. If a storm rolls in, you don't throw away the boat, you learn to steer through it. Same goes here. When sadness shows up, ask yourself, is this about the present, or am I reliving something from the past? When anger comes, breathe into it and ask, what boundary needs to be set? What truth do I need to speak? With calm, not rage. When loneliness whispers, remind yourself, this is a moment, not a life sentence. The more you build awareness of your emotional world, the stronger you become. Not colder, stronger, grounded, centered. People are drawn to someone who can hold steady, not someone who swings wildly with every shift in energy. When your kids feel that steadiness in you, it gives them space to come closer, not pull away. There's a quiet dignity in emotional maturity, and that kind of dignity makes you unforgettable. Now, I want to talk about something that doesn't get enough attention. Something so simple, yet so rare in our world today. Listening. Not waiting for your turn to speak. Not silently judging. Just listening. Really being there with someone. Hearing not just their words, but their tone, their pauses, their unsaid feelings. In this age of distractions, a person who truly listens stands out like a lighthouse in the fog. If your relationship with your kids has been strained or distant, there's something powerful you can do. Just be available to listen without expectation. No lectures. No guilt trips. Just presence. And if you get the chance to talk with them, even if it's brief, practice listening with your whole heart. Say their name. Make eye contact. Let them feel in your silence that they matter. You'd be amazed what happens when people feel truly heard. Walls start to fall. Wounds begin to close. And the same goes for others around you. Friends, neighbors, anyone you interact with. You become a safe space. A trusted soul. And here's the secret. When you give that kind of listening to others, they begin to reflect it back. The energy shifts. Your conversations deepen. People stay longer. They open up more. You're no longer the one chasing attention. You've become the person people naturally come to, because being with you feels like coming home. Let's take a moment and just breathe that in. You're building a life where you no longer beg to be seen. You're reclaiming your sense of self. Not because you got louder, but because you became more grounded. You're not fighting for a seat at anyone else's table. You're preparing your own, and those who are meant to sit with you will arrive in their time. Let's say this aloud together, with calm strength. I am worthy of attention. Say it again. Not because you're demanding it, but because you finally believe it. You've done more than enough. And now you're becoming more than you ever thought possible. There's a different kind of power that comes with age. It's not about being fast, flashy, or loud. It's about being anchored, wise, and quietly radiant. And when you live like that, not only do your kids begin to notice, you begin to remember who you are. You were never meant to fade. You were meant to rise. And you're already doing it. By now you've probably noticed something, not just in the words but in the way you feel as you hear them. A soft shift. a deeper breath. Maybe even a flicker of energy that says, yes, I'm ready to live differently. And you are. You've begun to lay the groundwork for something bigger than just getting attention from someone else. You're returning to yourself, strengthening your foundation, learning to walk with calm and dignity again. We've talked about purpose and how to reconnect with it. We've explored how to manage emotions instead of being ruled by them. And we've rediscovered the quiet power of listening, not just to others, but to your own heart. Now, I want to bring everything we've spoken about together, not in theory, but in practice. Because this journey you're on, it's not about shouting, pleading, or proving. It's about becoming, quietly, steadily, day by day. And it all begins again with one simple truth. You don't need to fight to be seen. When you live with care for your health, your mindset, your relationships, your peace, the right people notice. And if they don't, that's okay too. You're not doing this to chase love. You're doing it because you are love. The love you gave to your kids when they were young, you're learning to offer that to yourself now. The forgiveness you showed them when they made mistakes, you're learning to extend that same grace to your own journey. And that brings us to something many people struggle with. But that changes everything once it clicks. Letting go of control. You can't control whether your kids call you today. You can't control if they suddenly understand everything you sacrificed. You can't even control how long they stay when they do come around. But you can control how you respond, how you spend your day, how you speak to yourself. That's your power now, and it's more than enough. You've lived a lot of life. That means you've been through heartache and healing. You've seen seasons of loss and seasons of joy. You've endured what younger people can't yet imagine, and come out the other side with wisdom that can't be taught. So now it's time to wear that wisdom with pride, not as a badge of survival, but as a new beginning. Take care of your health, not to turn back the clock, but to honor the time you still have. Surround yourself with people who see you, not just for who you were, but for who you still are. Keep practicing connection, one meaningful conversation at a time. Let yourself be seen. Let yourself listen deeply. Let yourself belong. Speak kindly to yourself in moments of doubt. When the phone doesn't ring. When the invitations don't come. Don't fill the silence with shame. Fill it with presence. With a walk. With a prayer. With a letter you write and never send. With a new chapter you begin because you can. Let your confidence rise from something deeper than approval. Let it rise from the way you carry your story with grace. From the way you show up for yourself, no matter who else does. Your ambition doesn't need to be loud, but it should be alive. It can be something as small as planting tomatoes, or as grand as writing your memoirs. It doesn't matter what form it takes, it just matters that it exists. Because ambition, at its heart, is simply this: I'm not done growing. And if you still have breath in your lungs, you still have places to grow. Emotionally, spiritually, relationally. You've been given a gift that many never get. The chance to begin again at a time when people think it's too late. But you and I know better, don't we? Let's come back to that simple affirmation that's been running through our journey together. I am worthy of attention. Say it slowly this time, with meaning, because you've walked through a lot of life to arrive at this moment. You don't have to earn the right to be noticed. You don't have to prove your worth through suffering. You don't have to hold your breath for someone else to value you. Your value has always been there. Maybe hidden under years of giving to others. Maybe covered by guilt or grief. But it's there. And today, you are uncovering it. Not for applause. Not to win anyone back. But to live well. Because here's what happens when you live well. You become a beacon, a living reminder that joy isn't reserved for the young, that peace isn't only for the lucky, that strength isn't something you retire from. It's something you build, one healthy habit at a time, one gentle boundary at a time, one good decision at a time. And guess what? Your kids? They'll notice. Maybe not immediately, maybe not in the way you imagined, but they'll feel it. In the warmth of your voice when you do talk, in the calm of your presence when they visit, in the steadiness of your eyes that say, "I'm not here to chase you, I'm here to live fully, whether you show up or not." That's not cold. That's love in its most mature form. A love that doesn't cling. A love that blesses. A love that lets go and still remains open. So if you've ever felt like you've been begging for breadcrumbs, stop. You are the feast. And the people who are meant to sit at your table will come. Here's to the parent who no longer waits in worry, but walks in strength. Here's to the grandparent who doesn't shrink back, but steps forward with curiosity and care. Here's to the soul who knows, without needing to be told, "I am worthy of attention." If this spoke to your heart today, share it. Let someone else know they're not alone. And if it helped you, even just a little, consider liking this video and subscribing to Strong Elderly Life. Because the best years of your life are not behind you. They're right here, and they're still waiting to be lived. Here's to living your best life at any age.